Hi friends, welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing interpretation of equations part 2. Grab your notebook because you're going to probably want to write some of these notes down. All right, the expression C quantity, and quantity just means parentheses, 1 plus R represents the cost of an item after sales tax. It is based on an item's original price, C, and the rate of the sales tax, R. All right, so we know now that the original cost of the item is C. So this is our cost here, and this is our rate. If you expand the expression, which term represents the additional amount you would have to pay in tax? Okay, so let's take a look at that. We've got C, 1 plus R. All right, in a previous lesson, we talked a little bit about y equals mx plus b and how that applies to word problems where we have a rate and we have a fixed amount. So let's go ahead and expand this. We've got this times this times this. So we have 1c plus c times r equals our total amount. Okay, if we were to put this into y equals mx plus b, we know that our m, remember, it represents our slope, but it also represents our rate. And our rate is going to be our sales tax. So if we take a look at this, we get our total, we get the cost of the item plus the cost of the item times the sales tax rate. A good example of this would be, let's say you buy an item that is $50, 1 plus our rate. Now it's really important to note that our rate is going to be in, if it's a 5%, we're going to turn it into a decimal. So for example, if our rate is 5%, we'll say 5%. Remember, if we are going from a percentage to a decimal, you just got to do there's 2 dots and a percent sign, so we move it over 2 spots. So we would get 0.05, which means we're taking that original amount, $50, and we're multiplying it by 1.05. What that is telling us is we're paying 105% of the cost of the item. 100% represents the original cost of the item, and then the 5% represents the total amount. So another way of looking at that is if we took that 50 and we distributed it to here, 50 plus 50 times 0.05 will give us $2.50. So if I were to distribute this, I would end up with $50 is the cost of the item, and then $2.50 is the sales tax that we will be paying onto that. So let's consider that while we look at this question again. If you expand the expression, which term represents the additional amount you have to pay in tax? It looks like this is going to be our additional amount here, which if you look back, that's this, CR. That's where we take the cost of the item and we multiply it by the rate represented as a decimal. So D would be your correct answer here. Now, just as a little helpful hint, if you are working on a word problem and it seems a little bit confusing, you can do exactly what I just did here and plug in what we call like the 10 and 2 method. I used 5s here because it was a little easier, but you plug in easy numbers, something like 50 and 5%, and you work through the problem with numbers and then backtrack to see if that will help. So we worked through with a sample problem, and that gave us our answer, CR. So our correct answer would be D. If you have any questions, let your teacher know. Otherwise, we will see you next time.